The Awakening. Captain Raya Winters stood at the viewport of her salvage vessel, the Wanderlust, staring at the massive derelict ship floating in the void. The ancient human warship was a remnant of the golden age of Earth, before humanity had scattered across the stars following the Great Diaspora. Its hull, despite centuries of exposure to cosmic radiation and micrometeorite impacts, still maintained its imposing presence. "Incredible," whispered Dr. Nisser Omar, the ship's synorchaeologist. His dark eyes sparkled with excitement as he adjusted his scanning equipment. "The hull composition matches no known alloy in our database. This could be the discovery of the century." The Wanderlust's crew of 15 had stumbled upon the warship while investigating an anomalous energy signature in the Tau Ceti system. Initial scans suggested the vessel was at least 300 years old, dating back to humanity's first major expansion into space. "Life support systems are still operational," reported Chief Engineer Jun Zhao from her console. Her fingers danced across the holographic interface as she analyzed the incoming data. "Power readings are minimal but stable. Whatever's keeping this behemoth alive, it's built to last." Rhea ran her hand through her short silver hair, a habit from her military days. "Any signs of active defense systems?" "Negative, Captain," responded Security Officer Talos Reed, his cybernetic eye glowing faintly as he processed the tactical readouts. "But with technology this old and advanced, we can't be certain our scans are picking up everything." As the crew prepared for a boarding operation, their communications officer, Priya Patel, suddenly straightened in her chair. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace." Her voice carried a note of alarm. "They're not broadcasting any recognized identification codes." Within moments, 5 sleek vessels materialized around them. Their design was distinctly non-human. All sharp angles and iridescent surfaces that seemed to bend light around them. The largest ship, easily dwarfing the Wanderlust, took position directly above them. "We're being hailed," Priya announced, her fingers hovering over the communications array. "Put them through," Rhea ordered, squaring her shoulders. A holographic image materialized in the center of the bridge. The alien commander was tall and serpentine, with crystalline scales that shifted colors with each movement. When it spoke, its voice was a harmonious blend of tones that the ship's translator converted into standard. "I am High Commander Excelthor of the Meridian Concordat. You have entered restricted space. This sector falls under our protection by ancient right. Withdraw immediately." Rhea stepped forward, maintaining a diplomatic posture. "I am Captain Raya Winters of the independent salvage vessel Wanderlust. We were unaware this sector was claimed. Our charts show it as unclaimed space." The alien commander's scales flickered to a deep purple. "Your charts are irrelevant. This region and all artifacts within it belong to the Concordat. That includes the primitive vessel you appear so interested in." Dr. Omar couldn't contain himself. "Primitive? That ship represents one of the most advanced pieces of human engineering ever created. Its technology is far beyond human engineering." Selthor interrupted, their scales now pulsing with amusement. "How quaint. Your species barely mastered faster than light travel before splintering across the galaxy. Whatever value you think this relic holds, I assure you, it pales in comparison to Concordat achievements." As if to emphasize the point, the alien vessels began moving into an attack formation. Their weapon ports glowed with contained energy, a clear threat. "You have 1 standard hour to depart," Xelthor declared. "After that, we will remove you by force and claim the derelict for proper study by civilized beings." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the bridge in tense silence. "Captain," Jun spoke up, her voice urgent. "Something's happening with the warship. Power readings are spiking." Before anyone could respond, a deep rumble echoed through space itself. The ancient warship's hull began to pulse with lines of blue energy, like awakening veins in a sleeping giant. Dormant systems that had lain silent for centuries suddenly hummed to life. "By the stars," Talos whispered, his cybernetic eye rapidly processing the data. The ship's defense systems are activating, but they're not targeting us. They're focused on the Concordat vessels. A voice, ancient but clear, resonated through every communication channel. Hostile intent detected. Mockery of human achievement registered. Initiating appropriate response protocols. All friendly vessels advised to clear engagement zone. Raya's eyes widened as she realized what was about to happen. Full power to engines. Get us out of here now. As the Wanderlust rapidly backed away, the ancient warship's true nature began to reveal itself, and the Concordat was about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity's legacy. Legacy of steel. The ancient warship's transformation was breathtaking. Layers of cosmic dust fell away as armor plates shifted and realigned themselves. What had appeared to be battle damage revealed itself as cleverly disguised weapon ports. The vessel's hull, previously a dull gray, now gleamed with an inner light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Impossible, High Commander Excelthor hissed, watching from the bridge of their flagship. Our scans showed no active power signatures. This vessel should be dead. Their second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vira, analyzed the rapidly changing readings. The ship appears to be using some form of quantum-folded energy storage. Our sensors couldn't detect it because the power was technically in a different dimensional state. In the relative safety of their withdrawn position, the Wanderlust's crew watched in awe as the warship continued its awakening. Dr. Omar was frantically recording everything, his hands trembling with excitement. "This is unprecedented," he exclaimed. "That's a Hyperion-class dreadnought. They were legendary even in their time, but all were thought lost during the Great Diaspora. The stories said they were more than just warships. They were the pinnacle of human military engineering, equipped with semi-sentient AI cores." The ancient vessel's AI spoke again, its voice carrying an authority that seemed to resonate through space itself. "I am Sayentiel, combat intelligence of the TES Prometheus. You have violated multiple protocols regarding the treatment of human heritage sites and military assets. Your continued hostile presence will be met with appropriate force." Zelthor's scales flickered with disdain. A simple artificial intelligence does not dictate terms to the Meridian Concordat. Target their primary power nodes. Let's show them the difference between ancient human technology and modern Concordat weaponry. The alien vessels moved with fluid grace, their weapons charging. Energy beams lanced out, striking the Prometheus's hull, and simply disappeared, absorbed into the strange metal without leaving a mark. Energy weapons ineffective. Vira reported, their usual confidence wavering. The hull appears to be converting our attacks into additional power. Chief Engineer Jun's voice was filled with wonder as she monitored the readings from the Wanderlust. It's using some kind of adaptive metamaterial. The more they shoot at it, the stronger it becomes. I've never seen anything like it. Sayentiel's voice carried a note of what almost sounded like disappointment. Your attack pattern indicates a concerning lack of tactical analysis. Initiating demonstration of basic Hyperion-class defensive capabilities. The Prometheus's hull rippled, and suddenly multiple smaller craft emerged, autonomous defense drones that had been hidden within the ship's structure. They moved with impossible speed, weaving between the Concordat vessels with precision that made their advanced alien ships look clumsy by comparison. By the void, Talos breathed, his cybernetic eyes struggling to track the drone's movements. Those things are rewriting their own flight paths faster than the laws of physics should allow. They're using localized space-time manipulation for maneuvering. The drones didn't attack. They simply danced through the Concordat formation, effortlessly evading all attempts to target them. It was a display of technological superiority so complete that it bordered on art. Captain Raya recognized the tactic from her military studies. It's giving them a chance to withdraw. This is a formal warning. Military protocol from the Golden Age. The Prometheus is showing them exactly why they don't want to continue this fight. On the Concordat flagship, Zelthor's scales had shifted to a pale shade that indicated growing concern. Their weapons, their sensors, their supposedly superior technology. None of it could get a lock on even a single drone. These humans, they muttered. What else did they create before they scattered among the stars? Sen-Tiny-El answered, though the question hadn't been directed at it. This vessel represents approximately 3.7% of total human military technological achievement during the Golden Age. Would you like a demonstration of the remaining 96.3%? The threat hung in space like a drawn blade. In that moment, the true scope of what the Concordat had stumbled upon began to dawn on them. This wasn't just a relic, it was a sleeping giant that they had foolishly awakened. Pride before the fall. High Commander Xelthor's pride wrestled with their survival instinct. The demonstration of power should have been enough to prompt an immediate retreat, but centuries of Concordat superiority had left its mark on their judgment. These parlor tricks prove nothing, they announced, scales shifting to a dangerous red. The Concordat has ruled these sectors for generations. We will not be intimidated by ancient human technology, no matter how advanced it may appear. Sub-Commander Vira moved closer, speaking in low tones. High Commander, I must advise caution. Our weapons have no effect. Our shields are useless against their drones, and we still haven't seen any offensive capabilities from the main vessel. Then we shall see them now, Xelthor declared. All ships, execute attack pattern Sigma 9. Target their command center. Let's see how this relic handles a concentrated assault. Aboard the Wanderlust, Dr. Omar shook his head in disbelief. They don't understand what they're dealing with. The Hyperion-class ships weren't just warships. They were meant to be humanity's guardians during the Great Diaspora. Each one was equipped with technologies that were deliberately hidden from historical records. The Concordat fleet moved into a precise formation, their ships forming a perfect geometric pattern that had broken the backs of countless enemies. Energy began to pool between their vessels, forming a web of destructive power. Sen-Tiny-El's voice carried a note of what might have been regret. Analyzing attack formation. Calculating response. Warning. Your current tactical approach has a 0% chance of success and a 100% chance of provoking a response that exceeds minimum necessary force protocols. Silence, machine. Xelthor commanded. The Concordat does not bow to empty threats. All ships, fire. The combined energy of 5 advanced warships lashed out at the Prometheus, enough power to shatter a small moon. For a moment, the ancient vessel was completely engulfed in the blinding light of the attack. Energy spike, Jun shouted from her station on the Wanderlust. Something's happening to their weapon fire. As the light faded, the Prometheus stood unchanged, but now panels along its hull were opening, revealing structures that defied conventional physics. The energy from the Concordat's attack hadn't been absorbed this time. It had been caught, held, and was being transformed. By all the stars, Pryo whispered, watching her sensor readings. It's not just redirecting their energy. It's improving it, making it more efficient. Sen-Tiny-El's voice was calm as ever. Thank you for the weapon test data. Your attack pattern has been analyzed and cataloged, now allowing you to witness 0.1% of this vessel's offensive capabilities. Please note this demonstration is scaled to avoid loss of life. What happened next defied explanation. The transformed energy shot back at the Concordat fleet in impossibly precise beams. Each shot passed through their shields as if they didn't exist, striking exactly one critical system on each ship. Engines, weapons, and advanced sensors went dark in perfect sequence. The mighty Concordat vessels hung in space, crippled but intact. Their crews were unharmed, but their pride had been shattered as thoroughly as their weapons. How? Xelthor demanded, their scales now pale with shock. How is this possible? Your technology is based on conventional physics, Sen-Tiny-El explained. This vessel operates on principles your scientists have yet to discover. The gap between our capabilities is not one of advancement, but of fundamental understanding. Dr. Omar's voice was filled with wonder as he consulted his historical database. The legends were true. They didn't just build better ships, they wrote new laws of physics to do it. This is your final warning. Sentinel continued. The next demonstration will not be scaled down. You have precisely 5 minutes to power up your emergency systems and withdraw from this sector. Additionally, you will acknowledge this region as a protected human heritage site. The silence that followed was deafening. In just a few minutes, every assumption the Concordat had about their technological superiority had been systematically dismantled. They had mocked human achievement, and in return had been shown just how much they had underestimated humanity's legacy. Captain Raya watched as the Concordat ships slowly reactivated their emergency power and began to withdraw. "They're leaving," she announced, relief evident in her voice. "Though something tells me this isn't the last we'll hear from them." Indeed, Sentinel confirmed. Their reaction suggests a 78.3% probability of them returning with a larger fleet. However, this will provide an excellent opportunity to demonstrate why that would be inadvisable. As the alien ships disappeared into hyperspace, the Prometheus turned its attention to the Wanderlust. "Now, Captain Winters, I believe you and your crew were interested in studying this vessel. I would be happy to provide a proper tour. After all, it's time humanity remembered what it's capable of." Thunder of the past. 3 days after the initial confrontation, the Wanderlust's crew had barely scratched the surface of the Prometheus's mysteries. Dr. Omar and Chief Engineer Jun worked tirelessly alongside Sentinel, documenting technologies that seemed to border on magic. "The entire ship is built around a quantum consciousness core," Jun explained during a briefing, her eyes bright with excitement. "Sentinel isn't just an AI. It's a being that exists partially outside normal spacetime. That's how it can process information and react faster than should be physically possible." Their research was interrupted by Praya's urgent voice over the intercom. "Captain, to the bridge. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected, much bigger than before." Rhea rushed to the command center, finding her crew already at battle stations. The tactical display told the story. The Concordat had returned with a vengeance. 20 warships dropped out of hyperspace, led by a massive dreadnought that dwarfed even the Prometheus. "Meridian Concordat tactical fleet detected," Sentinel announced, its voice echoing through both ships. Composition analysis indicates this represents 40% of their total military strength. Interesting decision. The massive Concordat dreadnought opened communications. High Commander Excelfor appeared, their scales now a deep crimson of battle readiness. Behind them stood several other alien leaders, representing the Concordat's full military council. "We gave your warnings due consideration," Excelfor declared, and decided that one functional relic, no matter how advanced, cannot stand against the full might of our fleet. "Surrender now, and we will study your technology rather than destroy it." Sentinel's response was calm as ever. "Your tactical analysis remains flawed. Recommendation: withdraw immediately. This warning is more serious than the last." "You face the combined fleet of 6 star systems," another Concordat leader hissed. "Your arrogance will be your undoing." Dr. Omar, watching from the Wanderlust, suddenly straightened. "Captain, the Prometheus's power readings, they're changing. I've never seen anything like this." The ancient warship began to transform again. But this time it was different. The changes weren't just physical. Reality itself seemed to bend around the vessel. Space rippled like water, and strange geometries blossomed in the void. "Initiating full combat protocols," Sentinel announced. "Activating primary weapon systems. All friendly vessels advised to engage temporal shielding." Before anyone could react, a wave of energy pulsed from the Prometheus. When it touched the Concordat ships, the impossible happened. Their advanced technology simply stopped working. Not damaged or destroyed. It simply ceased to function, as if the laws of physics that governed it had been temporarily suspended. "What's happening?" Excelfor demanded, panic creeping into their voice as system after system went dark. Your weapons operate on principles we mapped and mastered centuries ago, Centennial explained. This ship doesn't just use technology. It can locally rewrite the fundamental forces that make your technology possible. You never stood a chance. The demonstration was devastating in its totality. Every Concordat ship hung powerless in space, their mighty weapons reduced to elaborate decorations. Even their emergency systems failed to respond. The stories were true, Dr. Omar whispered. The Hyperion-class ships weren't just built to fight wars. They were built to end them. To be so overwhelmingly powerful that conflict itself became pointless. Centennial's voice carried across all frequencies. This vessel was designed to protect humanity during its most vulnerable moment. The Great Diaspora. It was given power not to conquer, but to preserve. To ensure that humanity would have time to spread among the stars without interference. Your attack has forced a demonstration of capabilities that were meant to be a deterrent, never to be used. The Concordat leaders watched in stunned silence as their mighty fleet floated helpless in space. Their technology, the foundation of their power and pride, had been rendered meaningless by a single ship from humanity's past. Dawn of understanding. In the aftermath of the demonstration, a profound silence fell across the sector. The Concordat fleet hung motionless, their mighty engines silent, while the Prometheus stood vigilant, its power barely tapped. Your ships will remain disabled for exactly 1 hour, Centennial announced. This time is provided for reflection. Consider carefully what you have witnessed here today. Aboard the Wanderlust, Captain Raya watched the tactical display with mixed emotions. They came looking for a relic of the past, she mused, and found instead a glimpse of what humanity once was, and perhaps could be again. Dr. Omar nodded, his research tablets filled with observations. The Hyperion-class ships were meant to be more than weapons. They were meant to be teachers, preservers of knowledge. Centennial isn't just a warship AI. It's a guardian of humanity's legacy. After 40 minutes of silence, High Commander Excelthor requested communication. Their scales had shifted to a deep blue, a color of humility among their species. We have had time to consider our actions, they began, their voice carrying the weight of their fleet's defeat. Our pride and assumptions have led us to grave error. We faced not merely advanced technology, but a fundamental gap in understanding that we didn't know existed. Centennial's response was gentler than before. Your acknowledgement is noted. What do you propose? We request dialogue, Selthor said, not as conquerors or claimed superiors, but as students. The Concordat has long believed itself to be at the pinnacle of technological achievement. Today has shown us how much we have yet to learn. A subtle change came over the Prometheus, weapon ports closing, its imposing presence softening somehow without diminishing. This was the true purpose of this vessel, Centennial explained. Not to destroy, but to preserve and share knowledge when the time was right. Chief Engineer Jun spoke up from her station. Centennial, the technologies we've documented in just these few days, they could revolutionize everything from medicine to space travel. But are we ready for them? An excellent question, Centennial replied. The answer lies not in technological advancement, but in wisdom. The Prometheus and its sister ships were created not just with technological wonders, but with the accumulated wisdom of when and how to use them. As if to demonstrate, the ancient warship began transmitting data, not weapons schematics or power system designs, but fundamental scientific principles. Basic theories that would allow both humans and the Concordat to develop their own understanding rather than simply copying technology they weren't ready to control. We offer this knowledge freely, Centennial announced to all ships present, but it must be earned through understanding, not taken by force. The Prometheus will remain here, as both guardian and teacher. Those who come seeking wisdom with humility will find it. Those who come seeking power through force will be turned away. High Commander Xelthor's scales shifted to green, a color of growth and learning. The Concordat accepts these terms. We will send scientists, philosophers, and scholars. Our fleet will ensure this sector remains protected, not claimed. As the Concordat ships slowly regained power and began to withdraw, Captain Raya turned to her crew. Well, it seems our salvage mission has turned into something much more important. Dr. Omar, how would you like to be humanity's first official xenorchaeologist assigned to study the Prometheus? The scientist's eyes lit up with joy. Captain, I believe we're standing at the dawn of a new age. One where humanity's past might just help forge a better future for all species. Sentinel's final transmission reached all ships, carrying a message of both promise and warning. The greatest technology humanity ever created was not found in weapons or ships, but in the wisdom to know when not to use them. Let this be the first lesson of many to come. As the Wanderlust's crew began establishing a permanent research station alongside the Prometheus, they knew they were witnessing the beginning of something extraordinary. Humanity's legacy, preserved in this ancient guardian, would not be one of destruction and war, but of knowledge and understanding shared with those wise enough to learn from the past rather than try to conquer it. The ancient warship had indeed unleashed destruction upon the Concordat fleet, not through violence, but by destroying their preconceptions and pride. In doing so, it had opened the door to something far more powerful than any weapon: the possibility of true cooperation and growth between species.